Stacie, Sew Stacie. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. We have a good time over here. If you're returning, I told you I really do appreciate that. I fooled with y'all because you did not have to come back. But today will be a quick, easy, and fun video because I'm actually doing something that I rarely do, and it's a pattern review. So I recently did a photo shoot for Sewn Magazine, and the pattern that I used was Vogue's 9136. I've had this pattern for several years and I have never taken the time to make it, although I knew it was a very easy sew. So where to begin with it? Number one, when I first bought this pattern, my initial thought was that I wanted to make it sporty. I still have probably 3 bolts of fleece fabric, and I'm talking about thick, like I probably have maybe 5 yards on each one. Like I have a grayish, black, and a kind of turquoise light. And my goal was to make that, you know, just because at that time I was working with my fingers getting a little more dirty in my career, and I always needed like a nice piece of outerwear that I could work in but throw it in the washing machine if I wanted to. So that's one of the reasons that I love sewing. Well, I've never made this coat until recently, and when I bought the actual fabric, I got it from our beloved Joann Fabrics because it was on clearance. It's brocade. You know anything about me and you know how much I love Sarah Jessica Parker. Anytime I see some pretty brocade, I think about a coat that Carrie would wear, okay? Sex and the City, even the fashions on And Just Like That still have me in a chokehold till this day. So I didn't know what and I didn't know when, but I knew that this would become a coat. I just didn't think about putting the two of them together until now, but that's what happened with this. So this particular coat, I'll show you the line drawings. I initially did not want the band across the back because I just didn't feel like there would be a need for it. I just thought it was cute, fun. I could put my little, because I'm a veterinarian by trade, I could put my little pocket tools, you know, right here in the front of them out in the field. And I didn't see the need for the pockets. So I cut them and I was like, you know, I trimmed all the pieces out, but I was like, I don't think I'll ever really use those. Well, I actually ended up using those recently in another project because I couldn't find the same exact pockets for another pattern that had the same pockets. One thing about me, I love outerwear and evening wear from Vogue, and to me that is like their #1 thing. Like they always have like nice, elegant pieces that you can kind of dress up or down depending on what your vibe is. So for this and the brocade, I will say the brocade is so easy to work with because #1, you do need to make sure you give it a good press, but I don't even know where to begin. Like I didn't know what kind of buttons I wanted for this, and I was like, once I get this done, you know, I need to kind of move fast or whatever, so what am I gonna do? I ended up getting button cover kits in the larger size. Like I had like the little kit, but I needed the refills, so I ended up taking some scrap fabric and making my buttons. I kind of put little hints of that along the way as I posted, without letting people know exactly what I was making at the time because I was doing it for the magazine. But the coat, I will say beginning to end, it probably took me 2 days interrupted. Very, very easy sew. So, of course, I went in and I searched everything, but this is just easy. Like this band, I love like this little separation here because any type of turtleneck, cow neck, anything like that, I just think gives like, I'm that girl, I'm in charge. And I literally made it, put the 2 pieces together, folded over, gave it a good press. That is the key with this particular pattern. If you're going to use it with like fleece, you know, ironing out the seams probably ain't that big of a deal. But if you're going to use a true heavier, I feel like more professional finish type of a fabric, like a brocade, you got to get in there, pull out your ham, you know, pull out all of that and get to working. Pull out that Rowenta, you know, whatever machine, whatever sewing, whatever iron you may be using, turn that thing up high. Now, of course, you always want to test out your heat settings to make sure you don't burn anything, but you got to give this a good press. You got to give it a good press because it almost looks like a bubble coat if you do not press out these seams. Like that literally makes it look so clean, so crisp, so professional. It's very much lightweight. I probably could have, if I had so chosen to line it, but I didn't see the need for it. But I haven't really had a chance to wear it yet, but this is just like the underside of it. But again, very lightweight, very much crisp. It's a very easy sew. I really don't have too many pointers about it. That's why I was like, this would be a quick, like, nice pattern review. But again, the band across the back, I really was like, I don't need that. But if you're going to use a fabric that does not have any stretch to it, by all means, put the band across the back. I'll turn this around, I'll show you a little clip of that, but put the band across the back because that will actually give you shape. Because although I loved how this looked in the end, I was like, if I had not put that band on there, I just feel like I would have just looked like kind of boxed out. But it, gave you like a nice little silhouette from the back. So I feel like that was very much necessary. Now, the good thing about that is if you were to lose some weight, you could just kind of open it up, pinch in, kind of pull those pieces together, kind of pull in at the seam and just put your little base stitch. I wouldn't even say base stitch. You can stitch it on down, but just don't cut it because I feel like you can easily let it in and out for how the band is tucked on the inside. Basically, it's sandwiched in between the seams for the front and the back pieces of the coat. I don't even think I lengthened out my sleeves. It just hit me just right. I'm 5'8", but I have a long torso and I have long arms. And then I'm not, necessarily the smallest person, so you always have to give an account for that. But I mean, when I say this was such an easy sew, I use just my regular Microtex needle, nothing spectacular about it. Use like a nice little kind of rosy champagne with rose gold, almost kind of thread with it. But there's just really not much to it. It's just a very easy pattern that I feel like if you have the opportunity, if there's a sale with Vogue or even if it's not on sale, go ahead and get it. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna make this again. I'm gonna make some pants to go with. I'm gonna make it again with fleece. Now watch somebody steals my idea before I do that. But I'm gonna make it again with the fleece and I'm gonna make some matching bottoms. Because I could rock that with some really nice sneakers, or I could put it on with a heel because that's just my vibe, baby. That's just how I do. Shayla. So I absolutely, again, I love this. It's very, very lightweight. It's great for this time of year. Like, for instance, it's 70-something degrees outside, but supposedly it's going to snow in the morning. Yeah. It's just so weird to me what the weather is doing, but that's such is life. So I wouldn't be mad, we got a little wind chill because I could put this on, nice slacks and just really, give the girls a look, go outside with that thing tomorrow. But I absolutely love how this turned out. Now, fun fact, when I shot the pictures for Sewn Magazine, I think Raven is the only person that I told this. On the day that I was going to take the pictures, really the week leading up to it, my job has been ridiculously busy and I didn't really have a chance to figure out what I wanted to wear underneath it because ideally I would have taken this to the floor. I didn't have enough fabric to take it as long as I wanted it to be. Like it comes like right at about my knees. But with that having been said, I had to figure out what I was going to wear to like really make it pop, make it kind of sexy. So I'm going to pop up this picture of the Sicily slip dress that I made 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, when I went to brunch with my sew sisters of Atlanta Sewing Style, of course, in Atlanta. So I made this long Sicily slip dress and I gave it like to just kind of funk it out. I did an asymmetrical, just random cut to the hem. And then I took some extra fabric, cut on the bias, just like that dress requires, stitched it to the bottom, let it hang so it can just do that natural gravity pull to give you that nice silhouette. Hemmed it up and that was it. Well, I'm still wearing that dress long, but I needed something to go under here and that dress would be perfect. Y'all, I put that dress on and tucked it in my bra because it's just that long and I just kind of fixed it such that it would look like a bubble hem to a satin dress. I don't know if you can appreciate that if you're looking at the pictures in the magazine. I don't know if you can appreciate it, but that's what I did. So such that I can get out and take those pictures, because I was fresh off the road. It was first dark, and I was like, there's just enough light that I can get a good photo. So that's what I did. So yeah, this can, again, if you wanted to lengthen it out, you could, but this will be great in so many different fabrics. So the description on the bag says it's a loose fitting unlined coat that has a collar, drop shoulders, self-lined yoke back with forward shoulder seams, no shoulder seams, back belt, and stitched hems. Okay, and if you were to make view C, you could put the pockets, but I just felt like my flowers in this brocade were so beautiful, I wouldn't dare cover them up with pockets. And yeah, I didn't want any pockets on the side. I just didn't. So we kind of went with view C. That's pretty much what we ended up with. The fabrics that it calls for: medium weight woolens, fleece, gabardine, and it says it's unsuitable for obvious diagonals. And fabric for, I cut the 24 to 46. Somebody's driving crazy outside my house. I cut the size 24 to 26. Again, stress to everybody, do not cut your patterns based on what your commercial size is in the store. Cut your pattern according to what the finished seam measurements are that are given on the back of your pattern, please, because you will be upset. Unless it's workout gear and you have a lot of stretch to it, you need to make sure you cut that thing to your true measurements, okay? So I cut the 24 to 26 size. So if you have a fabric that's 45 inches, then you would need 4 5/8 yards of fabric. I think mine was 60, and I think I had right at 4 yards. If I'm ever somewhere and I'm unsure about the amount of fabric to get, I'm just gonna go ahead and get 4. And by meaning, what I mean by not knowing how much I'm gonna need, sometimes I buy fabric just off of vibes. I have no idea what it's gonna be. I'm just like, I love it, it's gonna become something. Because I know I had this fabric for probably 2 years before I ever thought to pick it up and cut it. So I think there were 4 yards left. It was on clearance. I got it. And can we just bring Joann Fabrics back? Like, stop playing with us. I need my things. I want to be able to just run in there and grab stuff. Hobby Lobby is holding me down for my random things that I may need, but that's the only store I'm really loving right now, okay? If I just got to run in the store and get something. Everything else, Walmart. Walmart is great. And matter of fact, I'm going to throw in some things that I've seen at Walmart in recent times towards the end of this video. But yeah, Hobby Lobby, Walmart. Like I said, I've gone through Michael's a few times, nothing against Michael's, but I'm just not impressed for the height that I thought we were about to get. I haven't seen it, but we can get our things or we can order them online. If you chose to line, if by chance you chose to line this coat, you would, if on the 45-inch bolt, you would need a 1/2 yard, and the notions calls for 7 1-inch buttons. There's a button, I don't think I put one in here. I do. So there's a button here that will allow this to lay beautifully against your skin. Otherwise, you know, you could kind of have it swing a little bit. But I just, like I said, this is so lightweight. I love it. I can't even imagine lining it. And then there's another button here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So listen, this pattern said that I needed 7 1-inch buttons. I ended up using 6. I still haven't figured out where the 7th one comes in, but the coat didn't fall off of me. I didn't need any buttons for the sleeve or anything. I have no idea why. I only used 6. I covered 6, no issues. But yeah, I only used 6 buttons. I don't know why I said I needed 7. So the inside of this fabric is so pretty. If I just so chose not to use the dark pink, I definitely could have gotten away with that. Like, this is so pretty on the underside. Like, it's beautiful, but I really wanted that pink. Of course, you all know what sorority I belong to, and I was like, I could definitely do something with this when I'm going to chapter meeting, because that's when I really like to pull my things out. So yeah, this was just a really good and easy sew, and yeah, I just felt like we needed to talk about this. So I don't know if you can appreciate the back belt, but I felt like the belt is really what gave me confidence when I was walking, because it kind of pulled in. So the coat fits pretty oversized, and yeah, you want to make sure that you make it good, but it's just a good pattern. This pattern in particular only has 9 pattern pieces. I always tend to mark on my instructions because I love to read them once, maybe twice, go in and kind of check off the different steps that I'm definitely going to use, because some pattern instructions you may not use depending on what view that you're making. So again, this pattern only had 9 pattern pieces, and I knew that I was going for C, so I cut out 2 through 9. I did not need pattern piece 1 because it was the pockets for A and B. However, I told you I didn't use it, but those pockets definitely came in handy because I had something else that I was working on. Could not find those pockets for anything. And so basically, when I did the live sew along on YouTube for Vogue's 8930, I could not find those pockets that lay on the front. So I politely went into this pattern packet, pulled out those pockets that I didn't use for this, and it got me together. Yeah, don't ever get rid of things that you're not using, because you never know when you may come back and need them. So yeah, everything that's on here, very easy sew. And I cannot stress to you enough that you need to cut for your finished pattern size. Like, whatever it says the finished pattern size will be, a lot of times you have that on the little flap right here on the top flap. You'll have that. So make sure when you cut, you do not cut for what your commercial size is in the store. You may get your feelings hurt because you'll work real hard and you can't wear it, and that will just really kill your confidence. So don't get caught up on, oh, I wear this, I don't want to cut this size. Get over it. You need to be comfortable, and that's your business. Like, who's in your body? You know what I'm saying? Who's in your clothes looking at your stuff? So with me using brocade on this, again, before I got started, after I cut my pieces, cut the fabric, to go along with the pattern pieces, I made sure I serged. You can see these little worn pieces, little frayed pieces right here by the button. I don't know if you can really appreciate that. Even though I have the buttons, when you do the buttonholes or whatever, you always open up your buttonholes with a seam ripper. Because I know brocade can fray kind of bad, I made sure I went in and I serged my pieces. I strongly believe in serging. If I'm not going to serge, then I'm going to do a zigzag stitch. However, some people like to use pinking shears. I've been meaning to just sit down and do that, but the one day that I was ready to use my pinking shears, they were no more good. I actually think I bought some pinking shears, and I have yet to open them up and try that. So I need to make myself a little note to go ahead and do that. But yeah, serge your fabric to make sure it does not fall apart. A lot of times I find myself serging after the fact. Depending on what it is, I actually prefer to serge after the fact, but this one I serged everything beforehand, which worked out great for me, because when I threw the last stitch and I was working out of town, knowing I needed to get back and get these things, get the coat pressed and pictures taken, I cannot imagine if I would have had to serge that fabric. It just serge your pieces, okay? If you're using brocade, serge your pieces in advance. I have no notes, no true notes for this pattern. It's a very easy sew. I yeah, again, if you've never made a piece of outerwear, this is a great starter coat. Great starter coat. And then from there, sky's the limit. So again, this is a pattern that you should keep in your arsenal. And I'm definitely gonna funk it out when that crisp breeze hits again. And I mean, I have some pants that I could throw on with it. And if it gets cold enough this week and I feel like going outside and playing and taking pictures, I may throw on my cream pants, put on a little heel, and turn on this camera and get to it, because this is good. But yeah, again, this is a pattern you want easy, quick make. You can make it in a day if you just so choose. I don't believe in cutting the pattern, cutting the fabric, serging everything, and sewing it up in the same day. I'm tired. By the time I get to the point of sewing everything together, I'm tired. So I do all my prepping one day and then I sew another day. It's just good like that. So that's it. And that is all for my feedback of Vogue's 9136. Okay, bye.
Yeah.